Cameroon is a state of law. The law is the law, and the law must be respected, regardless of your political, social, economical, and religious status of the country. These have often been the words of Cameroon's Minister Paul Atanganji, the Minister of Territorial Administration. Yes, I agree with Minister Paul Atanganji that the law is the law and must be respected, whether you are a minister, whether you are a civil servant, whether you are not a civil servant, employed or unemployed, you must respect the law. That is why the lawyers will always tell you that justice is blind. You will serve justice regardless of who you are, as long as you are guilty by the laws which are laid down either by the government or an association. However, those who are charged with interpreting these laws are oftentimes being treated with illegality, such as intimidation, brutality, illegal arrest, just to name these, as we saw during the early phase of the Anglophone crisis in 2016, where lawyers were beaten in Moya and in Bamenda. However, this is so difficult for lawyers to practice their profession in a country where the law must be respected. It is also difficult for upcoming aspiring lawyers to get trained, especially at the level of the bar, and also for them to understand the implication of the action when being sworn into the bar. Cameroon students who are aspiring to become lawyers have difficulties to get trained. This is so because there is an absence of a law school in the country, and those who happen to go through the rigorous training by passing through the chambers and waiting for the day that the bar exam will be launched oftentimes are left behind, because it is a rigorous process, because many are called but few are chosen. The last bar exam in Cameroon was launched in 2014. We are now in 2021. If my mathematics is correct, we have 7 years that the bar was launched. That is to say that those who graduated in 2014 at the level of the different universities, who went through the in-chambers training for 2 years or 1 year, hoping that the bar will be launched after every 2 years or 3 years, are in their homes in what is captioned in pidgin as Shomen Camp. Yes, some probably have resulted in opening their call boxes and hoping that one day the bar exams will be launched. The question we should be asking ourselves now: who is in charge of organizing this bar examination? Is it the Bar Council, or it is Cameroon's Ministry of Justice? And if it is Cameroon's Ministry of Justice, what does the law state about organizing this bar exam? Is there a fixed provision that says it must be organized after 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, as we are witnessing? If there is none, is the bar empowered to fully control this bar examination? If they are, why are they not taking it to organize this bar exam frequently? And also, assuming that it is a total cacophony or limbo in that sector, why can we not have a law school after we've attained reunification in Cameroon, almost 60 years after? Why don't we have a law school that can facilitate or ensure that lawyers can be trained? Those who may want to become lawyers always pass through the shortest route possible by going through law school or law training in Nigeria, the Gambia, Ghana, just to name these. That is the shortest possible route that they can use. And to pay for law school in Nigeria, it is 5 million per year. For 18 months, you have to spend 10 million, adding over to the other charges that you have to pay. An average family thus cannot train a lawyer in Cameroon if that lawyer must be within the 5-year cycle, which means that medical doctors have the higher chance of becoming doctors after 7 years, as opposed to their colleague lawyers who ought to be 5 years. This is House of Commons with me, Tamai Jarvis. You're welcome back from that transition. If you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons with me, Tamai Jarvis. I introduced to you my guest with whom we are going to have a 1 hour 30-minute ride. It is going to be an educative session today. Reasons why we don't have a full house as often is when we are talking about issues like this. Of course, last week we had a full house on this same topic. That's why we have decided to organize an educative session with my guest. My guest was elected into as the president of the Bar Council in November 2008. That's the 9th of November 2008. He was elected as the bâtonnier of the Bar Council. He has wealth of experience as far as the bar is concerned, as far as Cameroon's legal procedures is concerned, and also as far as laws around Africa and other nations around the world is operate. He is senior barrister ETA-Besong. He's also a chief. To be more precise, I like to put senior in front so that people understand how far he's gone. Senior barrister ETA-Besong, you're welcome to the program. His Majesty, again, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. It's my pleasure to be invited here to your very beautiful studio and to your very, very famous program, House of Commons.
Thank you very much, His Majesty, Arena. Thank you. I'll kickstart today's edition program with you. We as witnessing first, I want us to look at the recent event that happened across the country. The recent event which happened across the country, that was the association of the lawyers themselves in the northwest region of the country who had their activities temporarily suspended by the divisional officer. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I'm not aware. Divisional officer of
Obamenda 2. They wanted to have a bar. The Northwest Lawyer Association wanted to have a reorganization.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware of that. I think
the General Assembly of the Northwest Lawyers, which was a bit suspended.
Yes, I learnt about that. That the Northwest Lawyers Association. The Northwest Lawyers Association is a subset of the Bar Association. So they run an association of lawyers who are resident in the Northwest. Yes. They wanted to hold a meeting. I guess it's the magistrate or the Ministry of Justice through his Procureur General or the courts. I don't know, but I know that the DO is the one who signed the injunction restraining them from holding the meeting.
Chief Barrister, let's get straight to the matter at hand. Last week we talked about the law school. We talked about 59 years after reunification. What stops Cameroon from having a law school? And I understand you follow the debate. Maybe you want to throw you have a remark before we dive straight into it.
Yes, I always follow your programs, especially when it touches my profession. I followed it. My colleagues were here. They said what they had to say. I want to say that it's regrettable that so many years after independence, reunification, and what have you, we don't have a law school. It's a very complex question. The causes are multitude, and let me start by saying, for people's understanding, that the beginning point here is that the Cameroon we call Cameroon today, it's a hybrid, culturally, linguistically, and judicially, legally. So Cameroon is a hybrid, and that might be one of the fundamental reasons why we don't have a law school up to now.
Barrister, let me come with you. We've looked at the system. You talk about a hybrid. We understand that the reunification period where we have there was a West Cameroon bar.
Yes, there was a West Cameroon bar. Yes,
and so the present bar now is got the inspiration from the West Cameroon bar.
You're correct.
Now, and in all this context, we're still having difficulties in obtaining a law school, where we see that the West Cameroon bar got the inspiration from first of all being ruled by the Nigerian ordinance in the West Cameroon.
Yes.
Now, which means that within that system, lawyers were trained under the Eastern Regional House of Assembly.
Most of the lawyers were either trained in Nigeria or were trained in the UK. So Nigeria was applying the system in the UK. So that's exactly what happened. So even the ordinance, the legal practitioners ordinance in Nigeria was inspired by the British Act. So that's exactly how it is. And as you have rightly said, it is the lawyers in the then West Cameroon who inspired those who were in Francophone Cameroon to think about creating a Cameroon Bar Association.
And today is fully functional, and you were at the helm of the bar. That was in 2008. In your words, I quote, you said you will leave the bar better than you met it, and that you said you will fight for lawyers' right to ensure that lawyers the payment of the emolument of lawyers regular is regular, and also the regular organization of the bar exams.
Yes, those were my aspirations and those were my goals. As to whether I succeeded or didn't succeed is for other people to judge. I don't want to judge myself. But I would not say that I succeeded in getting the emoluments paid to lawyers. I must be frank. I never succeeded there, not because I never tried, but because the hurdles were too many and too difficult to surmount.
We are coming out to the hurdles. Between the Ministry of Justice and the Bar Council, who should have authority over a law school?
My position, and I speak as an Anglo-Saxon lawyer, even though trained in Cameroon, I think that I was inspired by what I saw before I even went to the university. And I thought that what I saw then in West Cameroon was good enough to be implemented in Cameroon. Whether it was Federal, United, or Republic of Cameroon, I think that we should be able to take what is good and implement it in any system, whether that system is a hybrid or is original. I believe, and I firmly believe, and I will continue to believe, that the law school is the domain for the practitioners of law, the lawyers, the barristers. If it is advocacy, the barristers should take full responsibility for the creation and management of a law school. However, every law school in the UK, in Nigeria, is the creation of statute. That means there must be a law that empowers that creation. And generally in Cameroon, the law, like anywhere else, is passed by parliament. But unfortunately, 99.9% of the laws of this country are those which are sent to parliament as bills from government officials. So that is the hardest hurdle we have in the creation of a law school in Cameroon. Secondly, you know that our Francophones are in the majority in the practice now, and it is difficult to find them understand what a law school in the typical Anglo-Saxon system is. Because during your last program, I think I heard you mention that my immediate predecessor in office,
I'll be coming to that.
Yes, my immediate predecessor had talked about trying to open a law school. When you come to that, I will answer that.
Yeah, I will come to that, because we were told, reliably informed, that that was a project which was ongoing in the bar, and that the bar had the picture about that, but though we did not understand what went wrong, and you are in a position to tell us what went wrong, what was missing. But we'll be coming to that. Senior barrister, I want you talked about the aspect that the law school should be, if it is fully, if it is realized, if the statute is defined, it should be controlled by the bar.
Yes, by the practitioners.
The practitioners who are professionals in the field and understand the deontology of the profession.
Exactly. Much more than the deontology, they should know what they are going to teach the students who are in the law school. You know, deontology is very important, but you know, you have practice and procedure, criminal, civil, other practices which must be learned by the lawyer. So you go into a law school not only to learn deontology, you learn principles of practice and procedure too.
So I want us to again look at this aspect that some universities are clamoring that it should be given to them. That if a law school is, because based on what we gathered as far as the law school is concerned, that it should be given to a university or university should mandate. But you are saying that the bar should control that. I want to come now of the court clerk, the court registrar, all those people who are who also, so they too have to pass through the bar.
Well, let me come to this. You see, I want to take the last one first. You know, the registrars, the clerks of court, all of those things. See, in the UK, when they say you are a clerk to Mr. Justice X, you have had a legal formation. Okay, not necessarily that you have gone to a law school or an inn of court, as they call them there, but you have a legal formation. So you have the rudimentary ideas of law. But now coming to your question, a law school is not an appendage of a university. It is not. You're not going to a law school to have a master's or a postgraduate degree or a terminal degree. No, a law school is not the appendage of a university. And a university professor, even as of now in Cameroon, a university professor is a prospective candidate to enter the bar. So what will they be teaching the students who are coming there in law school? So the law school is entirely, or should be entirely, the responsibility of practitioners of a certain standing who have proven their worth in practice, so that they can impart their knowledge to those who are coming after them.
Now, we have a totally two different system, which happens to be creating the cacophony as far as the issue of legality, law, and the practice is concerned in Cameroon. Others are saying that the common law system, the civil law system, and this is causing the common man is paying the price of this mafia dance of the civil law, the common law, and all the and the aspiring lawyers too are paying the price, because from our editorials you heard we last had the last bar exam in 2014, yes. And 2014 till date, meaning that those in the University of Boya, some of our juniors who graduated in 2014 with the hope that after serving in chambers training for 2 years or 1 year or 3 years plus, they should be expecting to write the bar. But till date, the bar examination has not been written or has not been called. What could be stopping this? You have been in the bar. How is this organized?
Yes, what is stopping this is that the bar law number 90/059 of the 19th of December 1990 gives the Minister of Justice, in fact now the Minister of State of Justice and Keeper of the Seals, the sole authority to launch a bar exam. So you see, if you read the bar law from its very first section, you find that the Cameroon Bar Association is under the supervision or the supervisory authority of the Minister of Justice. That is regrettable. Honestly, it is regrettable. You can't say it's a liberal profession and then you subject it to the supervision of administrators who are government appointed. No, I think that's what is the greatest hurdle we have in this country. So until the minister decides that he would launch the bar exam, there will be no bar exam. And sometimes, you know, you are talking about 7 years. 7 years we have not had an entry into pupillage, because there are 2 exams.
Yes,
it's not just one. There is the first exam, which enables you, if you pass, to start pupillage for 2 years. Theoretically, I must add, because practically no candidate who has passed the bar part 1, as we call it, has done exactly 2 years and written the bar part 2. Sometimes it is 2 years 9 months, sometimes 3 years plus. So you see, these are all problems, but these problems are generated by the fact that it is the minister who decides to launch the exam.
How was it done in the days of West Cameroon bar?
Well, West Cameroon, we didn't have bar exams to get into the bar. As I said, everyone who got into the bar went through law school. So that is exactly what happened. But now, with a law, which is a national law in Cameroon, you have to start, if you want to, not coming from law school, I'll come to that. But if you are leaving the university and you aspire to become a lawyer someday, an advocate, you have to first of all write the bar part 1 exam, and this bar part 1 exam is launched by the minister. The minister sends out a decision saying the bar exam will be launched on such and such a date, such and such a month, such and such a year. The minister makes a second decision appointing those who are going to be in the jury and the secretariat for that exam.
That's with the implementation.
Yes, to be in the jury and to be in the secretariat. He names them.
It's not the bar.
No, he doesn't name. I mean, it's not the bar that.
It's not the bar that decide how you should be at the jury.
I would like to come right down to the facts as they are. The jury is made up of 3 lawyers. The president of the bar, popularly known as the bâtonnier, is the president of the jury. So he is there by virtue of his office.
Okay.
Then the bar council elects 2 members. Generally, it is the bâtonnier who appoints the 2. And the bâtonnier sends the names of these 2 lawyers to the Minister of Justice. Then the Supreme Court, what is called the first president of the Supreme Court, which should be the Chief Justice, in the right appellation. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court appoints 2. And then the universities give 2 names. Ordinarily, since there are 2 lawyers in addition to the excluding bâtonnier, 2 lawyers, 2 Supreme Court judges or judges of that standing, and 2 professors. It should be one of the professors should be Anglophone, 1 Francophone. One of the magistrates, the judges, should be Anglophone, the other Francophone. And the other 2 lawyers should be 1 Anglophone, 1 Francophone. So these names are sent to the minister, and the minister now publishes that these are the members of the jury.
Meaning that if you have a total of 10 members of jury,
7, there are 7.
7 means that we have at least 3 Anglophones or 4 Anglophones,
depending on
who is the president of the bar.
Yes.
So the president of the bar that will strike the balance, or if he's a Francophone or an Anglophone.
Yes.
So, but is that what has been the practice?
That is what I said.
Of
theoretically,
normative.
Yes.
That's normative.
Yes, theoretically, that's what the law states. But in practice, that has not been followed. Because there have been times when from the university, they have sent 2 Francophones. There have been times when from the magistracy, they have sent 2 Francophones. However, the minister has the latitude to increase the number of members of the jury. He can add 2, depending on the bar president, because the bar president might realize that there is an inequality, linguistic inequality, and might request that the Minister of Justice add some members to the jury.
You raised an issue there that the university sends at least 2. Now, with what you said about the law school, that the law school should not be an appendix to an educational to a university.
Yes.
Because even a professor who wants to become a legal practitioner must pass through the bar.
Yes.
So it means that if a professor is sent to the bar as a jury and a member of staff is in that bar exam or is to be admitted in the bar, is that why sending a professor in a field where we note that it's more of practicals and the lawyers is all about the lawyers issue?
Yes, that has been my headache, and that I have always voiced that out. I don't see the place, I say it without mincing words and without apologies to anybody. I don't see the place of law professors in an exam to admit members into the bar. Similarly, I don't see the place of magistrates in the jury for admission of lawyers into the bar, because it's not only the professor who is a prospective member of the bar. So that professor and that magistrate who are now members of the jury, interviewing candidates, setting exams for admission, that candidate would be admitted, and that magistrate or that professor might become his junior tomorrow. So you see the irony of a system like this. But I tell you, this system is because of the hybrid we find ourselves in. So I believe that the bar exam, and this is what I said to the Minister of Justice when I was bâtonnier, that the bar exam should be controlled entirely by members of the Bar Council. Because there is a certain, you cannot be in the Bar Council if you have not done at least 5 years of effective practice. So leave the lawyers to organize their own things, take the people they want to take, and let the magistrate organize their entry into ENAM for magistrates or for registrars or whatever, and let the law professors be in charge of examinations in universities. For the bar, leave the lawyers to do their work.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. Now, my next question is, what does the law in itself say about the law school? I know you talked about it, but is there a provision that they should not be law school or they should be law school? Is there a provision for that?
Okay, thank you for that question. I would like to say law number 90/059 of the 19th of December, as well as the internal regulations of the Cameroon Bar, do not make any provision whatever. You read the law from its first section to its last section, you read the internal regulations of the bar from the first article to the very last, you will never find the phrase law school. Nowhere. It is not found anywhere there, because it is foreign to the people who drafted that law.
Meaning that people will still have to wait in the entire process to become lawyers. And someone asked me a question last week that after following the program, I think we had 6 prospective aspiring lawyers from the University of Boya, whose name I will not mention. Yes. After following the program last week, they said, then what am I doing in university if till now a bar exam has not been launched, and secondly, it's not the government that pays lawyers? Why are they making things difficult for lawyers where it's not the government that pays lawyers, that you have become a lawyer and you fend for yourself?
That's the 1 million francs question.
Because if the government was to be the one paying all the lawyers, then not having launched the bar school for 7 years, maybe they could say because of financial issues that they are considering the number of lawyers that comes up yearly. But a situation where a lawyer gets trained, pass through the bar, and fend for himself, and why making it difficult?
Let me make this very clear. When I was bar president, there was an absence of intention by the powers that be, that is the Ministry of Justice, yes, to launch a bar exam. There was an absence of intention. And I went up to the Minister of Justice and asked that the exam be launched. And I was told that there was no budgetary provision for that. That, in my mind, was extremely scandalous. The Ministry of Justice has a budgetary provision each year, and in drawing up their own budget for their Ministry of Justice, they ought to have thought that the bar, having the bar as a subordinate or under the supervision of the ministry, they should have made provision. And apart from that, the decree which organizes those exams, there are 2 decrees that organize the exams. Yeah. One decree of 1991, that is decree 91/305, stipulates that the exam must be launched the candidates must put in their documents before the 1st of November of the year when there's going to be an exam. But the second decree, which talks about the end of pupillage exam, talks of every year. Can you imagine this? The one to enter does not have the phrase every year. But the one to finish has every year.
So there's a nuance.
There is a nuance. And these are issues which I had raised with the Minister of Justice at the time. And when the Minister of Justice told me that there were no budgetary allocations for that, I told him I was scandalized and that the ministry had to look for money. And he told me there was going to be no fund, and if the bar was interested in having the exam, then the bar should supply the funds. I tell you, I made the funds available because the funds of the bar are controlled by the bar president. I made those funds available. And when they said I should send the funds to the Ministry of Justice, I said I would not do that. I said I'll create a sub-account with our bankers, and that fund will be operated from there. And my treasurer and my vice treasurer at the time had to be signatories to that account. And you see, it didn't augur well with them, and they said that ETA-Besong is a very stubborn person and I am very hard. I am always going to be hard, but on the side of the law.
The law is the law.
The law is the law. That's where you started.
No one is below.
Nobody is above it. Nobody is below it. The law is the law. It might be hard, but it is the law. So I did that. I made the funds available. More than 15 million francs available for the examination, both for the material for the exams, the paper, the whatever, and to pay members of the jury and the secretariat. I made that available. I think when I had made it available, the ministry now chipped in some amount of money, which I didn't bother to find out because, you know, throughout my time I didn't care about how the accounts were run. I was interested in seeing things done.
We are happy because we understand that you've been very straight at the level of the bar, and that because of the straightness and the strictness, a lot of things went right, which ought not to have in a normal setting if someone had to be had to be complacent with issues. And we absent.
If that's what people say,
yes,
thank God for that.
Because lawyers I spoke to prior to my last week edition said a lot of things were done as far as your administration is concerned that helped shape the bar. But however, that if we were in a normal setting, Cameroon would have had an excellent organization.
Yes,
but we are in a setting where people sell the goat and keep the rope. Which makes it difficult for an objective mind like you to fully implement the agenda.
Yes, that's true. Coming back to this law school issue, while I was bar president, bâtonnier, let me use that one, is shorter, I had a draft bill which the Ministry of Justice sent to the Bar Council for examination. And when I received it in the mail, I received it first before I summoned the Bar Council, my position was clear. It did not represent what in my mind is a law school. And when we got into the bar, my colleagues who were francophones were excited with a law school. They were excited with the phrase law school. But because they never understood what a law school, they are not used to in their system. They are not used to law school.
In-chamber training.
Yes, they are not used to. Not even in Paris I went to Bordeaux. I thought I would see a law school in any of those towns. I never saw any, you know. So they came with this project, avant-projet as they call it, and they wanted to form an institution to train people, lawyers, notary public, bailiffs. Then there was the fourth, which was continuous education. Now this document was repulsive to me because you had to do 2 years in this so-called law school I mean, in quotes.
Yeah.
And then, after 2 years, write the bar part 1 exam to become an advocate in training. And I said to myself, this is horrible. I mean, you go in, take an exam, you do 2 years, after that, then you come and write an exam. So the present law, the present 1990 law, was definitely better by far to what they were proposing to create. So I talked to the members of the Bar Council, gave them my opinion. Luckily, we had a good number of Anglophones in the Bar Council then who expressed their opinion, and that was rejected. Secondly, what they were trying to create as a law school had as those to run it a representative from the presidency, a representative from the Prime Minister's office, a representative from higher education, a representative from the Ministry of Education, a representative from the Ministry of Finance, a representative from the Ministry of Justice, and so
territorial administration.
All of those things were coming in, you know. So it was going to be hijacked by the administration. And what is the representative from the presidency going to come and teach a lawyer? I didn't know what. What was the representative from the Prime Minister's office or higher education or basic? What were they going to come and teach a lawyer?
Probably they were coming to teach the lawyers on handling issues when it comes to the presidency, issue when it comes to basic education.
Oh, when it comes to the presidency or any ministry, that's administrative law. Let the lawyers teach their colleagues or colleagues to be what administrative procedures.
And maybe they were coming to teach the phrase "ifo etio patriotic."
Oh, well, but I was not going to swallow that hook, line, and sinker. It's not in my nature to swallow things like that hook, line. Patriotic, yes, very beautiful word, but it's not what the lawyers want to know. The lawyers want to know the law, substantive law, and adjectival law, procedural law, evidence. Those are the things the lawyers want.
That's why justice is blind.
Oh yeah, that's why justice is blind. Yes, it doesn't want to look patriotism. That's not patriotic. Every lawyer is patriotic. Let us leave this overused word, patriotism. Everybody is patriotic, but everybody is patriotic to a certain extent, depending on the circumstances which make him.
And if
the circumstances are oppressive,
it's repugnant.
Exactly. Don't tell me about patriotism. That's it.
Thank you very much, His Majesty Chief Barrister Ita. Let's take some few messages. We have a lot of people who have sent in their messages, especially those from the University of Boya, whom told me that they will get some clarification. This one is coming from Chair Jude Bu. He says, greetings to you in the studio, Barrister. Is it true that those who study law in Nigeria are absorbed into the bar once they return? If this is true, does it mean our universities aren't qualified in training our children? If yes, it means our law students from poor backgrounds are finished.
Now, let me answer him straight away. You don't leave a university in Nigeria and you become a practitioner. If you leave a university in Nigeria, you must be admitted to the law school. It is after completing from the law school. Once you complete the studies in the law school, then if you are successful in the law school exam, then you are sworn in the Supreme Court, and it's only then you become a barrister and solicitor and notary public. So let them understand this. You don't leave a university undergraduate, you leave with an LLB and you start practicing. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in Nigeria. So, and I have had occasion to have interns who have come to my chambers under their program Law in Action, and I've always told them, no place makes you who you want to be. You can study in the University of London, in the University of Yale, Harvard, and you are not a good practitioner. I am a locally trained lawyer. I was trained in the then University of Yaoundé, but I don't find anybody in the whole wide world who can intimidate me. because you came from London or from
Cambridge.
Nigeria or from Cambridge or from Yale or from Harvard. I am confident that I can stand any lawyer anywhere he comes from in the world. So let the students of Buea University know the only hurdle they have is that the exams are not set yearly.
Mirabel, writing from Buea, says, thank you very much, Senior Barrister. We are glad that you've made us to see the way in which a profession is run. I must say that this program has changed my life for today. Thank you, my Media Prime. Thank you, House of Commons. Thank you, Tamai Jarvis, for bringing in a great mind. You guys are blessed. Thank you, Mirabel from Buea. It is our wish that we educate, the media educate, inform, and entertain. As it is often said, if for patriotic, we are doing our own patriotism in our own little corner. This one read, it says, good afternoon, House of Commons, nice program. Please ask Senior Barrister, why is it that the bar cannot organize the law school, as we were told last week Sunday on your program that the bar in itself can come together and form a law school?
Yes, the bar cannot organize a law school because practice of the profession in Cameroon is regulated by law. I've said law number 90/059 of the 19th of December 1990. So even if 99.99% of the present lawyers in the Cameroon Bar Association get up one morning and say we want to form a law school now, they will not be able. Because under what law will they?
There's no statute.
They must have a foundation. Every house is built on a foundation. So there is no statute which provides that the bar association can form a law school. That is why the first thing is to have the law amended, to have the law give room for law schools in Cameroon. And I tell you, if it was a purely Anglo-Saxon parliament, maybe that would happen. But if you take it to a parliament with that mixture as we have now, and people don't understand what you're talking about, you know it will not pass. The bill would not be adopted.
Senior Barrister, we have a lot of people viewing us on Facebook. We want to say your comment, want to appreciate your comment. Keep them coming, and I will read them to Senior Barrister at the appropriate time. You're watching us on Facebook. We appreciate your concern. I want to ask you this question now. There is always a nuance in the legal profession where people say those trained from the law school just have basic training as opposed to in-chambers training. That in-chambers training is more than those trained from the law school. That in-chambers training, you must have been well molded, gone to court, experienced the reality that the law school just gives you some basic, and some people say performance for those are better for in-chambers training, and they will prefer in-chambers training. In this regard, you are a father who trained upcoming lawyers. You've been experiencing it, and you've gone around the world, represent different cases. Which is better, in-chambers training? We are not saying that, we are not in any way rubbishing the system, but which would be preferable based on the Anglo-Saxon culture, in chambers training or a law school in training lawyers?
If you first of all put it in the pigeonhole of common law.
Yes, common law.
There is no in-training.
Yes,
there.
I was coming to common law.
Yes, if it is common law,
Yes.
there is no in-chambers training. You must go to law school. So, but if we are talking about the local realities of Cameroon, what operates in Cameroon, in accordance with the law, the 1990 law, if you want me to make a comparison, it's unfortunate. I don't like to compare things by virtue of the appellations or whatever they are.
You are focused on the process.
Yes, take for example, I went to SASE. I went to SASE in 1965. In those years, in the 60s and the 70s, I mean, if you said you were a student of SASE,
From down the Boya mountain, up
they looked at you as if you were the fountain of knowledge. But let me tell you, there are people who have come from what SASE students like us will call mushroom colleges. It's unfortunate that we'll call them mushroom colleges, but there are students who have come from those so-called mushroom colleges who have done better than some of us who came from SASE. So it is not the place you have come from, it is the individual.
It is who you are.
I was trained, and I am grateful for that. I was trained by one who came from the UK, from an Inn of Court, Barrister Ekontangelad. And he gave us thorough training. All of us who passed through Ekontangelad chambers are thankful and grateful to him. He gave us. We didn't go to the law school, but he gave us enough training. So it depends. There are people who have had training from the best lawyers in Cameroon, in-house, but who have been disappointments. There are lawyers who have come from law school who have been disappointments. There are lawyers from law school who have been exceptional. There are lawyers locally trained in chambers who have been exceptional. So it depends on the individual's engagement, his purpose in life, his focus, his aims and his aspirations. If you take a bad egg and boil it in a golden pot, it doesn't cease to be a bad egg. So it is not that. It is the individual's attachment, his focus, his commitment, and his aspirations and goals, which would determine where he would finally find himself, on the good side or on the bad side.
So I want us to come now to this aspect of common law. In 2016, lawyers talked about common law. We were told that there is a common law session at the level of the Supreme Court.
Yes, a department.
Yes, the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Now, in this regard, where does the those who may want to practice this pure Anglo-Saxon law system, where do they find themselves? If at this moment we still don't have a law school, if at this moment we still don't have a clear picture of how to become a lawyer in Cameroon, where people have to still pass through the civil law system, because from what we see now, what it means that is a civil law system of training that's ongoing, which is based on the administrative tolerance when the administration decide that you should have a bar.
That's true. Let me be clear about this. You see, Jarvis, it is sad. My mind bleeds because I have children. I have a child who is the CEO of my chambers, my daughter. I have grandchildren who had seen me perform, who had seen a grandfather who is a lawyer, who admire the profession and who would want to. So my heart bleeds that we are still in this quagmire. Okay? My heart bleeds. You talk about a common law department. That department of the Supreme Court is just a branch of the judicial bench. It's not a bench. You have the administrative bench, you have the judicial bench, you have the audit bench, you have the common law is just a small department. Yes, it's a small department in the judicial bench. But the question is, what does it handle? That common law bench, a department, handles only appeals to the Supreme Court, which come from the courts of appeal in the northwest and southwest regions. It is not stricto sensu common law. Because come to think about it, are we really practicing common law? Does common law really exist anymore? That's a question which I would like even the common law lawyers to answer. Do we have common law? We sing common law, common law, common law. Do we have common law?
And because even at that level, the common man in itself it doesn't understand the word common law, because when the 2016 conflict between lawyers erupted, we were talking about common law. Until date, we are made to understand that there's progress as far as this implementation is concerned. But
what's the progress? The progress
we were told.
Well, you see, those are issues of nomenclature. Good words, beautiful phrases. Where is the progress? The progress is that, they reduced the number of Francophone magistrates who came to Anglophone Cameroon. Fine, if that's progress, so be it. Progress is that some Anglophones who were in courts or jurisdictions in Francophone Cameroon were transferred back to Anglophone Cameroon, fine, if that's progress. That's not progress to me in terms of the law. In terms of the law, why don't we copy good things? We are not the only bilingual country or bijural country in the world. Let us take Canada, for example. This melange we are trying to make in Cameroon of two things which are incompatible. Look, take mercury and water and try to mix them. They will never mix. Why don't you leave mercury in its corner and water in its corner, so that there is no adulteration of water and there's no adulteration of mercury? This is what should happen. In Canada, the Quebec area practices the civil law, and the rest of Canada practices the common law. So why don't we say Anglophone regions, let the common law be practiced as it was practiced before this so-called harmonization came. Francophone regions, practice your civil law, your Napoleonic code, your whatever code you want to, code civil, as it was before the so-called harmonization. I am not condemning harmonization. Sometimes harmonization can be good.
Yeah, in places where it is causing chaos, it should not.
It should not. I'll give you an example. If you look at the Criminal Procedure Code, it's harmonized. It has taken some parts of common law practices and some parts of civil law procedures, and we have a melange of those two. But when you go to it and they want to tell you about proof, they tell you a case can be proved by any means. But there is nowhere in that code where you would find what any means is or means. Any means. Under common law system, there are means of proof. You have real, you have documentary, you have oral, and so forth. But you will not find those defined in the Criminal Procedure Code. So when they say any means, it now depends on the interpretation of this magistrate or that magistrate, this lawyer or that lawyer. So you see that this hybrid has produced even greater evil.
Greetings to you in the studio. Very nice program. Keep it up. Enjoying the program. Greetings to senior barrister. Where have you been all this while? Is Fai John in Mayo Banyo. This is one of your best program, Jarvis. Thank you very much, Fai John. This oral read, it says, good afternoon. I am glad to have an encyclopedia in the studio today. I want to say that we are happy to have you. Your lecture is coming from Divine in Douala. This oral read, it says, good afternoon, senior barrister. God bless you. You are speaking the minds of many lawyers who could not speak here last week Sunday. Thank you very much. The messages are too many. I'll read them when the time comes. Let's get to facts because we may be distracted by some of the messages. Barrister, at the bar, you witnessed a lot of challenges that you went through as far as making things right, and I want us to come back to this issue of the law school again. There is you talk about the project of you took over from Barrister Charles.
Yes, Charles
Chungam, and they were working with Professor P.K. Vincent Tijanji and some other professors at the time to struggle to see how they can come up with a curriculum and propose what a law school may look like. That one should be at the University of Boya for the common law, and one should be at the University of Swa for the civil law, and that this should be applicable. We don't know what went wrong, what went right. The five seemingly we are not hearing about it. You are the best person to give us a picture, because some people are in court saying that it was killed by Barrister ETA-Besong, it was killed. I want us to clarify that.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. It's always my pleasure to meet challenges. I don't hate people who challenge me, okay? I would tell you what my predecessor and a few Anglophones who were his friends were contemplating had died in the womb. You know what they call a stillbirth?
Yes.
So it had died in the womb. In its gestation, it had died. Because they never understood what a law school is all about. You cannot say you are creating a law school with the Vice Chancellor of University of Buea. He has nothing to do.
Who in himself may be a candidate to become a lawyer.
He wasn't even.
No, I'm just saying that in the
if
practice,
he was a professor in law,
yes, he would have
been
been a candidate in himself.
Yes. But you know, they went and met him and told him, and I remember he sent my very good friend Professor Fonyam to Nigeria to go and understudy this. So that's why I'm telling you, the thing died premature. It died before it was even thought of. It had died because the conception, you know, once the conception was wrong, you can't put anything good on what is bad. So it was bad from its inception, from its conception, and so it had to die. It was not ETA-Besong who killed it. What ETA-Besong did was to tell the people, what you are thinking about is not a law school.
And to get them follow the process.
I told them, change the law organizing practice at the bar, and let the law contain that the bar can create its law school, and the administration was not ready to that, to swallow that pill. You see, I don't understand why this government fears the bar. I don't understand. You know, an attorney general of every common law republic should be a barrister, should be somebody who was trained.
You are just getting to the list of questions.
Yes,
before you
but here you get people who are not, because you know you have gone to ENAM, you've done fine, you've gone to ENAM, but what's your exposure?
Chief Senior Barrister, you've just hit a nail to my next question, where I was about to ask what's the relationship between the Bar Council and the Ministry of Justice.
Well, as I told you, if you look at Section 1 of the 1990 law organizing practice at the bar, they tell you that it's a liberal profession, but yet they go to tell you that it is under the supervisory authority of the Minister of Justice. So it is subservient. All those lawyers who hold that the bar is independent in Cameroon are dreamers. The bar in Cameroon is not independent. It is tied to the apron strings of the Ministry of Justice, and that is what is aching. You cannot come and say it's a liberal profession, and then the market woman called Bayam Selam, the Minister of Commerce doesn't control it.
The same with
it doesn't tell the Bayam Selam that you go and today you must sell Ole Cocoyam. So
same with the journalism field, where the Minister of Communication doesn't tell the journalists how to organize themselves, how to run the election.
Exactly. But you see, when it comes to legal practice, to advocates, they make it subservient to the Ministry of Justice. The Minister of Justice, do you know that the bar law provides that the Bar Association should provide in a meeting a dinner where the minister is invited? Well, I mean, what is that? What is that? So everything in Cameroon should be under the umbrella or the supervision of the administration?
Firm instructions.
No. And that is the problem. So the Bar Association in Cameroon is not independent. It is not. And it is time that the authorities that be should start thinking of letting it be independent.
But we have lawyers that says the bar is independent, and
that's why I say they are dreamers. Those are dreamers.
And I ask a question: if the bar is independent, why can the bar not run the bar exam?
Okay, the bar cannot run the bar exam. Let me tell you, it is the Minister of Justice who publishes the names of candidates to sit for the exam. Sit for bar part 1, sit for bar part 2. The Minister of Justice. It is the Minister of Justice, after the deliberation of the jury carries its results to the Minister of Justice. It is the Minister of Justice who publishes it. The law says that the Minister of Justice will publish it, and the Minister of Justice will give to the successful candidates attestations of success. What in the common law system is called call to bar. A call to bar certificate is not issued by the administration. The body of benchers in Nigeria, for example, they are called the body of benchers. They sit down and declare that this candidate is ripe to get into the profession, and they give you a certificate from the Supreme Court called call to the bar. Not an attestation from a minister of justice. In Cameroon, the minister of justice, thank God we have a minister of justice now who is a legal mind, who has a degree in law. But when tomorrow we have a minister of justice who has a degree in agriculture, he will be giving you a call to bar certificate. Isn't that outrageous?
Hello, Mike Jarvis. Please, you don't always read my messages. I'm reading your messages now. I'm going to read your message now. You don't always read my messages. However, I am so overwhelmed with the senior barrister Chief ETA-Besong. He makes me feel like going in to study law at my age with much responsibility. He should always be on the panel. I am begging. Happy Sunday. It's Charles in Yaoundé.
Well, let me tell Charles, there is no age to becoming a lawyer. I want him to know that when I went to the University of Yaoundé, I was a classmate to somebody whose certificate I had certified.
Wow.
I was a junior, a freshman, whereas students who were below me in such a college were my seniors. I had worked before I went to university. I had had my first child before I went to university. I had my second child, my third child before I went to the university. Age is not an impediment to being what you want to be. It's purpose, focus, commitment. Finish. Even at 90, you go to Nigeria, you see a grandfather in the law school with his grandson or granddaughter. Age is not a barrier.
Okay. Good afternoon. I am Shatu calling from Banyo. I really enjoyed the program today. God bless you people. This other one read, he says, hi Jarvis, this is Ngu Golof, son of late Meche Ngu Mwambo Gordon,
yes,
from Boya Federal Quarters. Greetings to senior barrister in the studio. Just happy seeing you again. How I wish you could head the bar again.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
I don't have that ambition.
Please, God bless senior barrister. These minds he's speaking the minds of us. This is coming from Jude. This other one read is a Meklis from Boya, University of Boya, student reading law. It says, I'm happy for this educative program. Please, senior barrister, we would like to have you. The more I listen to you, the more I feel happy and make people to understand that the law profession is responsible and have a mind who are called learned colleague. Thank you very much. The messages are too many.
Thank you.
Senior barrister, let me just take this last one. This person has written, please read my message. Hello to you guys in the studio and to the learned barrister ETA-Besong, whom I respect so much. I think the administration is making the atmosphere difficult to put in a law school in Cameroon. It's coming from K. Ferdinand Lingia in Bamenda. Please, this other one read, please let senior barrister on the panel more often. I have gained a lot from him and he has pushed me to begin a career. Fight John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Senior barrister, just to let the viewers to understand that senior barrister too is very busy with other issues, struggling to ensure that justice is served to the quarters where injustice is being committed. So that's why we cannot be having him often. But whenever he's free, he often make time to be with us, as he did today. So we appreciate you for coming.
I appreciate you for inviting me. I am available when possible.
Yes. We still have time, close to 15-20 minutes. I want us to look at an issue which you raised. That's the issue of promotion of lawyers. The issue of promotion of lawyers has been an issue where lawyers are seemingly in Cameroon, where a lawyer cannot one day say that I'll become a judge one day, or I'll become an attorney general one day. When we look at the level of promotion of lawyers, which it must be done to a norm, but is that the way in which it should be? Is that what ought to be, where lawyers, where those who are presiding over cases are making judgment, don't have wealth of experience as far as this matter is concerned?
Yeah, Javid, those are the problems. Those are the problems with hybrids. You see, if you have a tiger cross, if you have a lion cross a tigress, what the product is neither a tiger nor a lion. Okay, it might have some characteristics of both, but it's neither one nor the other. It's a hybrid. So lawyers, barristers do not have, you don't have a barrister grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. You have magistrate grade 1, 2, 3, and 4, and super scale, and so on. You know, but in the typical Anglo-Saxon, I don't want to call it anymore Anglo-Saxon common law. Let us call it a typical Anglo-Saxon system. In a typical Anglo-Saxon system, you don't become a magistrate or a prosecutor without being a barrister. You're first a barrister. You come out as a barrister, you practice for some time, at least 5 years, and then you can apply to go to the bench or to become a state prosecutor. Your bar association has to give a recommendation, so that they must recommend you
as a vetting process.
A vetting process. They must say that this guy is good enough to become a sitting magistrate, so that when you go to the bench or you are prosecuting, you are not a novice. But you tell me, a student is leaving ENAM in June 2021. He is posted in August 2021. September 1st, 2021, he is meeting ETA-Besong, who has been in the court for the past 40 years.
God called Abraham.
How do you expect that magistrate to perform? First, he's frightened by my age at the bar. He's frightened by his inexperience. And so he uses some cases as guinea pigs. Okay? So those early cases he would have would be his guinea pigs, his test grounds. The common law, you live as a magistrate. You become a magistrate after
lawyer, as a
barrister for at least 5 years. Then you go, you are now beginning your magistracy. Okay?
And you are vetted by the bar.
By the bar. And any promotion you have to leave the court of first instance, or what is called the magistrate's court, to go to the high court, the lawyers must give their say. For you to leave the high court to go to the court of appeal, first of all, to go to the high court, you must have done at least 10 years as a sitting magistrate to go to the high court. You must have done at least 15 years for you to go to the court of appeal. And you must have done at least 20 years for you to go to the Supreme Court. But today you see a guy who has left ENAM in June. In August, he's posted into the High Court. It's interesting.
And sometimes these persons don't have the legal background at the undergraduate level.
Of course. That's it. And now you are coming to the field. That's why I say you will use their first cases as guinea pigs. You know? So I don't call it promotion of advocates, because advocates don't think in terms of promotion. Because you can be a 40-year-old advocate, and a 5-year-old advocate barrister is more productive than you with your 20 years standing. Your age in practice should make you more matured and knowledgeable, but it is not a guarantee. It is your commitment and your focus. A guy can be just 2-3 years in practice. He has done a number of cases in branches of the law more than the 20-year-old who was just an armchair advocate. You know, so what we are saying is that they should have let Anglophone Cameroon go with his system, where you see Endeli Ndeli was a lawyer, was a barrister. English, Gordon, all those other judges who were in West Cameroon, all the magistrates, JPC Nganje, all of them, they were barristers.
First?
Yes.
Before
because West Cameroon could not employ you as a magistrate or appoint you as a magistrate if you had not come through the bar. You had to come through the bar. Either Ghana, yes, Nigeria, UK, you had to come through the bar. But that's not the system now. You know, and again, you are talking about promotion. I'll tell you, I've seen grade 1 magistrates who are more knowledgeable than grade 3 magistrates. One of the things I did I proposed when I was bar president, I met the minister and I told the minister, please suggest, since all the laws, the drafts, the bills come from the administration, please can you put up a bill to the presidency, because it must go to the presidency, that the constitution of the Supreme Council of Magistracy, or what they call Higher Judicial Council, should have lawyers. Lawyers deal with magistrates directly, but no lawyer is, lawyers are not there, not even the bâtonnier. But you have politicians, parliamentarians. That parliamentarian might be a farmer who has gone to parliament, but he's a member to decide on the promotion of magistrates. He has never met that magistrate he's talking about. He knows him by no stretch of imagination even, but he's there to talk about that man's promotion and transfer and whatever. And it is terrible. But the lawyer who is dealing with the magistrate day in, day out is left out. Why is the government afraid of the bar?
People say that the government is afraid of the bar because...
Let me give you a secret. I'm not going to call the name of the person. But when I started these suggestions about changing the bar law,
yeah,
to talk about the bar association, creating a bar school, a law school, about putting lawyers in the Supreme Council of Magistracy, you know what the minister told me? Là-bas, la présidence, on ne change pas le vécu. And he told me, ton collègue était ici avant moi. Il n'a rien changé. Vous voulez que c'est moi qui viens maintenant pour demander qu'on change le vécu? Je ne peux pas le faire. I was scandalized. I told him, in that case, then the president can appoint anybody, any Dick, Tom, and Harry, any dog, and put him there as a minister of justice, because you will not be able to change a virgule, a comma. You cannot change a comma. Then what are you serving?
Means we're just a figurehead.
Figurehead? You're not even a figurehead. In fact, you are just a figure.
It's senior barrister, the way you paint the picture is quite you know.
It's the truth. I'm not painting a picture. I'm just telling you the realities of life.
The reality
that people don't know is happening in this country.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune of having been there to see what is happening here. And that's why I tell you my heart bleeds.
That's why it's, I want us to do a simple mathematics. Someone just sent me a message and that how many years will it take her to become a lawyer in Cameroon, looking at the current reality. Now, I want us to do this mathematics. 3 years from undergraduate.
Yes.
Let's say a bar is launched after
immediately upon
graduation.
Yes.
So let's say the person does 2 months at the chambers for recognition, because the chambers have to give a recommendation.
Yes, the chambers does not give a recommendation because they call themselves postulants. There's no word like that.
Yeah.
You know, because the to be advocate in training has been in chambers for 1 day or 3 years or no. The guy can come from the university. There are chambers that can, yes. All the law says is that you must have a letter of sponsorship from a lawyer of at least 5 years standing. That's what it says.
Okay, so let's say that same day bar is launched.
Yes.
That student will undergo 2 years of pupillage.
From the 2 years starts from the time he's sworn in. That is, he will write the exam.
Yes.
He will pass the exam.
Yes.
He will be sworn in.
Yes.
Then, from the date of swearing in, it is from that date that theoretically he will do 2 years.
Okay. So means that approximately the child has 5 years or 6 years. 6 years to become a practicing lawyer if all things being equal.
He has 6 years to theoretically
Yes.
to come to the time of writing his end of pupillage exam.
Well, means that by default, let's just say 7 years to become a practicing lawyer.
Yes.
7 years.
That is all things being equal.
All things being equal.
Yes, they launch the exam when
Yes.
it is due.
Due.
At the end of 2 years, because the ministry knows when all the lawyers are sworn as advocates in training.
Yes.
You are sworn in the High Court.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is sent to the Bar Association, the Bar President. A list of all the advocates and advocates in training is established. It shows when they were sworn in. So, and it is sent to the ministry too. So the ministry knows when the last advocate in training was sworn in.
Okay.
So why not say the exam, if he was sworn in December 2018, 3rd of December 2018, why don't you publish it in November? That the exam, the next exam would be in 2020 December 4th.
Yeah.
Why don't you publish it in advance? You know, that's it.
So we say 7 years. Now it means that 7 years is like the medical fee.
Yes, it
7
is.
years.
It is because things are not going right.
Now that's assuming in the current dispensation, I mean it's 14 years because it's been 7 years that the bar was launched. It's current dispensation, and we don't know when the bar could be launched. But you are well
Never
placed.
give up. Never quit. Never give up.
You are well placed in the legal profession. You understand the corridor of the law as far as the bar exam organization is concerned. What could be keeping this bar exam from not being launched till date?
I've
What could
told
be
you
keeping-
it depends on the whims and caprices of
Is
the
it that- is
minister.
it a lack of budget?
The lack of budget
Because
is
in
a
your
very,
time-
very lame excuse.
In their
Very
time, they
lame.
said there was a lack of budget, which you provided the budget,
Yes.
and
But
they
it's a lame
later on
excuse.
came on and out of maybe shame and said, okay, let's not take a challenge from the bar that by ETA-Besong is challenging us. Let's just say give something as financial
Support.
support.
Yeah.
Say no, the
But it's a
government
lame
has
excuse.
reaged.
It's a very lame excuse. Because every year, before Parliament votes the budget of the Republic of Cameroon, it takes what the ministries have
Or
sent
has
it.
somebody, or is that money being embezzled somewhere?
Well, I
Because
don't
this is
want
something
to.
that
I don't
must
want
be
to make
legal.
a judgment because I
Is
have
the
not.
money being used
I have
somewhere?
not worked in the Ministry of Justice, so it would be preposterous for me to make any conclusion that the money is embezzled. I think it might be what in law we call per incuriam, out of neglect, out of inability to be foresighted,
Okay.
or out of a desire not to want the exam to come on.
Let's come back within the bar. It's been years we've not had the General Assembly of the bar,
Yes.
and probably is it the government too that's keeping? I know you are not the bar president, but you still belong to the bar.
Yes. I'm happy with that question. You see, again, this is an issue which is governed by the bar law. The bar law provides that elections, once you are elected into office, you assume and execute that office within 2 years. Okay? At the end of which there should ordinarily be an elective General Assembly. An elective General Assembly is not called by the bar president. An elective General Assembly or any General Assembly of the Cameroon Bar Association is summoned by the President of the General Assembly. The President of the General Assembly fixes the date, but there are things he should do. He should send out suggestions for a General Assembly. He should write to the bar members of the bar, telling them that he intends to call a General Assembly in such and such a time. There are time limits. The lawyers should send in suggestions as to what should be items on the agenda. If the bar General Assembly president does not do that, the bar president is not his competence to summon a General Assembly. Or, in the alternative, a majority of the practicing advocates because it's only advocates. Advocates in training don't have voting rights. The practicing advocates, a majority of them, can sign a memorandum calling for an extraordinary General Assembly, elective or ordinary. So those are the problems. The problems are not the problems of the Bar Council, because look, the Bar Council is made up of only 15 members as per the law as it stands now. The General Assembly, which is itself an organ of the bar,
made up of the different associations.
No, made up of all the advocates and advocates in training.
Okay.
That is what we call the Cameroon Bar Association. The Cameroon Bar Association is not the Bar Council. The Cameroon Bar Association is an organ made up of all the lawyers and advocates in training. The Bar Council is made up of 15 elected members headed by the bâtonnier. The bâtonnier is not bâtonnier of the Bar Council, it's bâtonnier of the Bar Association. Okay? So it is not the Bar Council's fault. It is the fault of the Bureau of the General Assembly to call the election.
Okay.
And the law states, let me clarify that, the law states, and this I want the lawyers to know, because soon there will be elections. But some lawyers, I regret to say, some lawyers have not yet mastered the bar law. The bylaw says that a General Assembly Bureau, the President and Vice President of the General Assembly, are elected for 2 years. And at the end of their mandate, they cease to be in that office. Again, let me stress it for the knowledge of advocates. At the end of 2 years, the General Assembly President is no more a General Assembly President. He ceases to be.
That is the law.
That's the law. But the law says, at the end of 2 years of the mandate of the Bar Council, if there has been no General Assembly called, the Bar Council and the bâtonnier will remain in office. People don't know that. I think it's section 74 of the bylaw. I think it's section 74.
Yeah, maybe you read it. If you have it there, you read it.
Yes, I think I have it here.
Why you are
no, not 74, I'm sorry. Not
okay,
74.
while you are getting to the provision, let me read some of the messages. Good afternoon and happy Sunday. I am Valentine Akum. I am so glad to seeing you around, Barrister. You give me the inspiration of being more like you. I say thanks for the words of motivation, sir. This other one reads, it says, good afternoon, Barrister. God bless you enormously. I must say you are a blessing coming to today's program. I've learned a lot. This other one reads, it says, those of you sending us WhatsApp messages, please make it simple, short. It says, a special regards to the great Southern Cameroonian on the panel. More grace to his able. Happy Sunday to you, Tab, Mike Jarvis, and to Senior Barrister. I wish to find out from Barrister whether can someone who graduates from a law school in Nigeria begin practice immediately in Cameroon. This is
not Jarvis. Let me answer that one, please.
It's Thelma from Chang.
Yes, let me answer that. If you leave the law school in Nigeria, you don't just come here and practice. You are called to the bar in Nigeria. You have to come to Cameroon, put in an application file to the president of the Bar Association for enrollment. That enrollment we call direct enrollment. It is an exception. It is an exception to going through exams, and is provided in Section 8 of the 1990 Bar Law. Section 8 provides 3 classes of people who exceptionally can get into the bar and become barristers without passing through the examination route. Those are Cameroonians who have been admitted to foreign bars, Cameroonian professors of law, former professors of law who have done 10 years as law professors, Cameroonian magistrates, former magistrates who have done at least 10 years. So those 3 can come as exceptions to entering through exams under Section 8 of the Bar Law. And those people, their applications are sent to the Bar Council, and the Bar Council takes a decision. The Bar Council takes a decision by majority vote. They can accept or refuse. The law says that 1 month after the candidate has put his application, if the Bar Council has not given a decision, the bar president alone can give a decision. So you see, the Bar Council because it might not have quorum,
Yeah.
because you must have at least 10 members out of 15 for a
15.
bar council to sit. If for some reasons,
Or the other.
maybe bar politics or what, because during times of election people don't attend bar councils because they are lobbying for this or that. If within that period, one month after the candidate has dropped his application, the bar council has not taken a decision, the bar president can alone give a decision admitting the person. So coming straight from a law school is not sufficient enough. You must apply for direct admission under Section 8 of the bar law.
Okay, you wanted to read the provision before we...
Yes, we have Section 52 of the bar law, which says the president of the bar council, it's not bar council, it's a mistake there, it should be of the bar association, shall be elected from among members of the bar council. The bar council and its president shall be elected for 2 years. That's Section 52, sub 1 and sub 2, elected for 2 years.
Okay.
But when you go to Section 54, sub 1, it says the bar council and its president shall continue to perform their duties until the new bar council and its president are elected. So if there is no elective general assembly, even after 5 years, the president and the bar council will continue. It is the law that provides it. This is different from the general assembly. For the general assembly, you look at Article 9 of the internal regulation. If we look at Article 9 of the internal regulation, what does it say? The bar council shall be elected for 2 years. Its composition shall be as provided for in the law organizing practice at the bar. Candidatures for election into the bar council shall be forwarded to the president of the general assembly at least 6 weeks prior to the date of election and transmitted to the secretary of the bar association. All of that. But you see, the duties of members of the bar council shall cease at the end of his mandate, or in case the member dies or resigns, or when the member of the bar council becomes incapacitated to perform his duty. You find that this contradicts the law.
Yeah.
But since the law is higher than the internal regulation, is the law that prevails. But when you go now to the General Assembly, you see that the General Assembly is not the same thing. Once their functions end, they end. They don't perform anymore.
Once the mandate comes, the date.
Yes,
they cease to perform the task.
Yes.
Okay. I want us to take on a brief transition for an advert, and when we come back, we will wrap up with the program.
Since 1993, EUG is 3 schools: ESG, ISTA, ISA. 3 ultra-modern campuses with more than 40 specialties in BTS, HND, DCEP, professional bachelors and professional masters. More than 15,000 graduates and more than 115 million francs scholarships granted to students. Many national and international partnerships, and more is still to come. At EUG,
we train leaders since 1993.
You wanted to read the provisions?
Yes, I read Article 9 of the internal regulations with regard to the bar council and the president of the bar. Article 8 of the internal regulation provides the president and the vice president of the General Assembly shall be elected by the General Assembly in accordance with provisions of the law. Their duties cease at the end of the 2-year mandate, or in cases of death, resignation, suspension, disbarment, and in any case, in case they are dismissed by the General Assembly for some serious reasons of a particular urgent nature. In such a case, and for purposes of ensuring their replacement, an extraordinary assembly shall be convened by the bar council to replace, if the General Assembly dismisses his president of the General Assembly, the Bar Council now will call.
Which is a 15-man.
Yes, they will call for a General Assembly because the president's mandate has ended. He cannot call, so the Bar Council can. If he has been dismissed, he cannot call, so the Bar Council can. So this provision, you will not find anything in the law about the president of the General Assembly. The law does not give him any continuity in office after the expiration of his term. No, unlike the Bar Council and the president of the bar.
I am Carson from Bafia. Thanks so much for bringing Barrister ETA-Besong this program. We have great and educated Southern Cameroonians.
Yeah.
This is thanks very much. Thanks very much, Mom Manu. The great barrister is an unlawful what? Please, now we are still in Cameroon.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
Some of your messages, please, I am unable to read them because of the context.
Political
context, and if we're patriotic. So, however, I want to acknowledge that I'm getting your messages. Barrister, we are slowly but surely coming to an end of today's edition of our program. We have so many messages. Unfortunately, I cannot read them because it will derail my question, and somehow we forward some of the messages to you in your private time. Maybe whenever you are in a different platform, you can address them because a lot of people are looking up to you as far as this issue is concerned. And I want to ask this quick question because although we're out of time, there are people watching us, West Cameroonians watching us, as far as this issue is concerned of the crisis in the northwest and in the southwest region. Yeah. Many say the lawyers took them to a position and abandoned them and went back to court. That the lawyers took them in the early 2016, that there was a common law system they were fighting for, and at the end of the day the lawyers have gone back to court, and the lawyers are not coming back to their aid to see that this conflict is resolved once and for all.
No, the present conflict is not the brainchild of lawyers. I want to make that one very clear. It's not the brainchild of lawyers. I was the president of the Cameroon Common Law Lawyers Association. I was the chairman of the Cameroon Common Law Lawyers Council. The association, I was the general president. The council, I was the chairman. It was not that. What is happening now is not the lawyers' creation. So don't ask the lawyers to come back. The lawyers' problem was with Francophones being sent to Anglophone regions, writing submissions in courts where English was known in French, carrying out cross-examinations or examinations in chief or re-examination in French, posting Anglophones to Francophone courts or courts in Francophone regions. Those were the basic issues. The basic issues the lawyers went for was not this type of Republic of Cameroon we should have, whether it should be a federal Republic of Cameroon or a separate or two separate
or a confederal state
or a confederal
decentralization state.
People are mistaken. That was never the lawyers' goal. The lawyers wanted this country to respect the rules of the common law.
By jurial and by
the by jurial nature. It is in the constitution. So anybody flouting that, thinking that because of the minority of Anglophones they can be swept under the carpet, was faulty because it was unconstitutional. So those are the issues. These lawyers wanted constitutional implementation of the terms in the constitution and in the courts. We didn't want a mixture where you come and you are making submissions. That is not what we wanted.
As we speak now, Senior Chief Barrister ETA-Besong, what is the level of implementation as of what the lawyers wanted and what is now?
We haven't had perfection yet. I must say that.
On the scale
even on what they call the division of the bench of the judicial bench of the Supreme Court, where they say common law, we haven't had satisfaction
on a
yet.
Scale of 100.
On a scale of 100, I would think that we are 65% gone. Okay, we are 65. But what I want the government to understand is that there should be no subjugation. The Anglophones should not at all be subjugated. That is why this problem is continuing.
Okay.
We should have the decency and the honesty to go to a table and discuss like people who once were together. Cameroon with K, German Cameroon was one. Then came the partitioning to majority of it, of the one Cameroon was given to French, the other part was given to England, to the UK. So why do you think that it is a, and let us sit down and talk.
Okay.
5 years running, war has solved nothing. 20 years running, war would solve nothing. Let us come back and talk, and let us eyeball to eyeballs admit where we have gone wrong and praise the others where he has gone right. That is the only way forward in this republic called Republic of Cameroon.
Senior barrister, what's your advice to young aspiring Cameroonians who may want to pick up the legal professions and who probably were discouraged based on our program last week on the length of time to become lawyers and some of the realities?
Keep your faith. Keep your faith. Never too late. And they should remember that there is predestiny. What God has planned you would be, you would be. Who God has said you would be, you would be. There can be interruptions. There can be impediments to slow that down. But what you would be, you would be. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can ever take it away from you. He can hinder you for a while, but what would be, would be.
Your advice to the Bar Council?
My advice to the Bar Council, please look at the issues of this country from a global perspective, not from narrow myopic viewpoints. No matter whether there are Anglophones in the majority in the Bar Council or Francophones in the majority, please let us look at what would be good for those who are coming after us and who have admired the profession and want to come, and let the thing be done. And let some force still be put to the authorities so that they can go towards changing the bar law. The present bar law is unsatisfactory.
It will be a fallacy for us to have a senior mind like you without asking you the way forward out of this conflict, which you already articulated. If you are talking now to both belligerent, what will be your message for both belligerent? Because I understand that you have worked with tribunals as far as conflict is concerned in resolving conflict. For sure, we know that there will be a tribunal for Cameroon, as we had the international tribunal for Rwanda, tribunal for those who have committed acts of war crimes and crimes against humanity. To these days, it's common for us to see A blaming B, B blaming A. You are a legal mind. What is that way forward, the picture you want to paint to them as far as this conflict is concerned before we go?
The picture I want to paint is that both sides should be honest to each other. First of all, those in the left, be honest to you and to your people. Those on the right, be honest to yourself and to the people who support you. Please be honest, say the truth. You are talking about a tribunal like in Rwanda. If they create a tribunal here, how many people are going to come out to speak the truth when the majority of them are people who worship other people, who swallow what a man says hook, line and sinker, and do not have the guts to tell the man, here you are wrong? What will be the way for those people, whether there's a tribunal, will be afraid of their own shadow and cannot come out and speak the truth? The other side, tell the people the truth. What you are doing, is it for the benefit of the common man, when the common man is at the end the one suffering? How many Francophones have been shot and killed outside military? How many? But how many Anglophones have been tagged blackleg and killed? Please.
Blacklegs on both sides.
There are blacklegs on both sides, yes. There are blacklegs on both sides. But please, tolerate your brother. Tolerance is important. Tolerance, 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 and honesty. Let us You don't fight by killing your brother and saying you are fighting for him.
Your last word to the head of state.
Mr. Head of State, put your ear down and listen to the people who tell you the truth. Don't listen to those people who flatter you, who want to tell you what they know you want to hear. You are not taking this country forward. Please leave this country better than you met it. That is my message to the head of state. He might listen, he might not listen, but tomorrow it will be said that he was told this by somebody who thought he should tell the truth, even if the heavens would fall.
Thank you very much, Senior Chief Barrister ETA-Besong, for coming. It's been a privilege to have you, Father, and we hope that God will continue to bless you and guide you.
Thank you so very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
It is this program will be rebroadcast on Sunday at exactly 10:30 this evening, and it will be rebroadcast on Monday at 9:30. It comes up live every Sunday at exactly 12:30. From next week we will start at 12:30 to 2 p.m. Next week we will start at 12:30 to 2 p.m. and you can get this program on our YouTube channel. BT Media Group is our YouTube channel, or our Facebook page, My Media Prime. All of our programs are on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, My Media Prime. Our Twitter handle, My Media Prime. I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you is that the law is the law. No one is above the law, and no one should be below the law. My name is Mike Jarvis from Cameroon's economic capital, Fengudong, Bange Douala, Kotobo Namusadi. Bye bye.